Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, but today we have a very special guest host. Her name is Shireen Richter, all the way from South Africa. Shireen is a laughter professor in South Africa, and she is putting together a book called Expert Mavericks, and she's interviewing some high-profile people from South Africa who have a lot to share in regards to what it is to be successful and what you need to do to have success and happiness in your life. So really looking forward to hearing those South African accents and hearing from all these guest experts that she is going to interview. So take it away, Shireen.
Hi, I'm Shireen Richter, laughter and happiness professor. I'm so excited to have with me today Pam Green as one of the next mavericks in the book that we are putting together called Expert Mavericks. Who is Pam Green? Well, if you ask her, she will tell you she's just a regular person that's trying to juggle work, being a mom, and adding a bit of kindness along the way. The truth is, she is so much more than that. She's a human being who has a huge heart, who helps others. She's a social entrepreneur and started an organization called SecondChances. We're privileged and honored to have Pam as a part of this wonderful, wonderful book. And we are now going to delve into her story and get some more information. Hi, Pam.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Pam, you are one of our mavericks. What does maverick mean to you, and why would you call yourself a maverick? What does the term expert maverick mean for you?
For me, an expert maverick is somebody who has embraced their uniqueness and their own individual way of looking at the world and turned that into a positive way to progress humankind and to better the world.
I think we're living in a world today where there's so much negativity that we need mavericks to create new and different experiences, to create things that didn't exist before. You've done some amazing things which we're going to look at, but how did you start your career as a maverick? SecondChances wasn't the beginning, I'm sure this started going back many, many years. Where did you get your passion for helping people? Take us back.
Okay, so we have to go back all the way to kindergarten. I was asked in kindergarten by my teacher, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said I wanted to be the person who helps the man draw lines in the road. So I was teased about that my whole life by my family, but looking back, it's actually exactly what I do. I help the underdog. I help the people who are suffering in life. And even at the age of 3, I wanted to be on the side of the road helping somebody who had to do that kind of job. And that's exactly what SecondChances does, actually. So it started then already. And then when I was 14, I joined a group in high school that used to do volunteer work, and that was it. I just knew that's where I needed to be, and that's what I wanted to do. And so I've done volunteer work my whole life that led up to this moment.
That's an amazing beginning and very intuitive from a young girl being in kindergarten, having this need. Did you do anything when you were little that you can remember that was remarkable? Did you start your volunteer work then?
My mom was a very big volunteer and very big into charity work, and I used to tag along with her to a lot of events that they threw, and she used to do some physio work on a child that was brain damaged, and we used to go and watch her do this, and so that's also why I'm so big in inspiring others to do charity work and teaching children to be kind, because my mom taught that to me, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
That's much success comes really from struggle, and reading about your journey, you have had quite a struggle. I think success follows struggle, and so many people give up. You haven't given up. Your fight was always to help the world, but you had a lot of your own struggles in your own life. Do you want to share that with us? And because that's ultimately what makes us stronger, and I think what's really been responsible for helping you be so compassionate in your world.
Absolutely. So I didn't grow up in a very privileged home. So I kind of always knew what it felt like in a superficial way, to not have what you want or what your friends might have, and how that feels. I'm a big believer in taking everything that you experience in life as a lesson to appreciate what somebody else might be going through. And I think my empathy is a big goal that I work on all the time, and I always look at the struggles that I've had in my own life in order to be more empathetic and more sympathetic for others. Almost 3 years ago now, I left a very unhealthy relationship. For the first time in my life, I was very comfortable financially, getting to travel, which is my other passion, just being able to do what I needed to do, and being in love, although I realize now it obviously wasn't love, but being in love, feeling like everything I was working towards was happening. And unfortunately, literally in one day, everything was taken away from me. I found out that the person that I was living with and in a relationship with had really big demons and was living kind of a double life. And I lost everything, literally overnight. Everything was gone. My house, clothes, cars, money, jewelry, like everything material had been taken away from me.
That must have been a huge shock.
That was probably the lowest I could imagine a human being to feel. I went from having everything to being homeless. I didn't know where I was going to sleep. I had nowhere to put my son for him to sleep. I didn't have money to feed him or myself. All his clothes, his toys, even our dogs, little things. Everything was just gone. And I really felt like alone in the world. As a mom, you have such a big responsibility to your child. And I couldn't meet those responsibilities. And to me, that was just earth-shattering.
And what gave you the courage to pick yourself up? That must have been incredibly difficult. What happened?
So funny enough, I was in the domestic violence court, which is not funny at all, but it's my lowest low is what actually turned me to be the strongest person I could possibly be. And I was standing in the domestic violence court to get a protection order, and the judge had asked me what was going on, and I gave my story, and this ex-partner of mine turned to me and he spat in my face and he told me that he would destroy me. And for a second, I broke. He literally broke my soul, and I realized I'm not even standing in my own underwear because I don't even have my own underwear. Like, everything I've been given is, I've been stripped of everything I have and my dignity. And now he's spitting in my face and telling me he's going to destroy me. And I just decided in that moment I could let him destroy me, or I could let him motivate me to make sure that nobody else would ever be destroyed again. And although I can't guarantee that I can ensure that nobody else will be destroyed, I can definitely inspire and add hope and help those who find themselves in situations beyond their control to rise again.
That's an incredibly positive and powerful attitude to have taken at your lowest point, because so many people would have just given up, lost hope, had a little pity party, felt really sorry for themselves. So I think it's very brave that you were able to use this as a motivating factor. What happened next? What did you do?
So after that, I was very fortunate to have support from a life coach and a lawyer who took on my case pro bono. And they fought for my rights, and they built me back up. And a couple of friends gave me a couch or a spare bed to sleep on for a few weeks or a couple days at a time. And I just decided to, instead of focusing on what I no longer have, to focus on what was new in my life and what I did have. And I'm a very big believer that energies around you is exactly what you need. And so I focused on all the amazing people that I'd never known 2 weeks prior, who were now in my life and rallying for my future. And if they were doing that, then I needed to do that too. And so following from there, it was obviously a lot of hard work in the months that followed, and finding a new job and a new place to stay and building back up slowly and just taking it all in and not forgetting. And so the more I rose, the more I helped others, and the more I helped others, so the more I rose, and that kind of just kept me going.
Give me some examples of that.
So just stopping at the robots. At that time I really had nothing to give in terms of material, but stopping at the robots, talking to the guys at the robots, the beggars, the newspaper sellers, getting to know people, I realized that nobody ever stops and says, hi, how are you? It's no, or we ignore, or you give the £2 and you feel good about yourself and you carry on driving, but nobody ever took the time out to actually engage. And these guys are rejected thousands of times every day. And just for their own self-esteem, I started to talk to them. And so I've become friendly with a vast majority of the street community in my areas. I did a lot of that, and then volunteering for other organizations. So during the xenophobic attacks in April, May of 2015, I spent 30 nights at a displacement camp in Mayfair. The only thing it cost me was petrol driving up and down. And just helping people. I read stories to the kids that were still in school. I used my teaching background to keep them up to date, doing maths, just using the skills that I had.
And were you never scared? There was so much violence around the xenophobic
I was never scared.
situation. You were never scared?
No. People ask me this all the time, and I think it's because I'm often in areas where people don't normally go. I'm very aware of my surroundings. Not that that's going to protect me 1,000%, but I am very aware. I try, not to go into an unsafe area on my own. But the truth is that, like I said, energies, and the universe puts out those energies, and I'm there for good. And if God forbid something happens to me, then that's what was meant to be. But I need to know that I'm doing something, and that makes me feel good, and I don't feel scared. And yeah, if something happens, at least I died, God forbid, doing what I love.
So do you think helping all these people during your lowest point is what gave you the stamina and the energy to keep going for yourself?
Absolutely.
Is that what helped drive you?
Absolutely. They say if you had to hang all your problems on a washing line and everyone had to come together with their problems, you'd pick your own back. And it was so motivating to see other people working on their problems and their sufferings. And if they could do it, why couldn't I? And vice versa. If I could do it, why can't they? So as much as I was an inspiration to them, they were an inspiration to me.
I think it's quite leveling what you went through, because so many people do good and help but don't ever realize that they could be in that same situation.
Absolutely.
And I always believe that we're put in a situation in order for us to learn our greatest lessons. And do you look back at this lesson and are you grateful for it? Are you happy you went through that experience now? Or is it still a bad memory for you? Is it something that made you grow and made you more understanding?
So funny enough, I actually contacted this person that I was in a relationship with that didn't end so well quite recently, about 8 months ago, and I thanked him. I thanked him for being the instrument that brought me to the place I need to be in life. This is who I'm meant to be. The work I do makes my life make sense, and he was so instrumental in that. I'm so grateful to him. I never thought I'd be at the time, but
Yes.
Right now, absolutely. I'm grateful. I understand why I needed to go through it. I see the lesson in it, and I wouldn't change anything.
And it's amazing that it hasn't left you negative, that you are so filled with gratitude. I can feel that from your energy. I can see it in you as a person. Was there any one person that was a role model for you during your life or through this journey that was the biggest influencer that you look up to?
So I wouldn't say that I had a role model, so to speak. I never really fitted in. So I kind of had to become my own role model, and I had to embrace my uniqueness. People misunderstood me. And so
I think that's a bit about being a maverick. Mavericks are different. Mavericks do things differently.
Absolutely. So I never really fitted in. I didn't have a lot of friends. I kind of did everything on my own, and I just believed that the way that I thought might be different, but it's right. And so I guess I was kind of like my own role model, and I found my way, and I made mistakes, and I learned from them, and I grew, and I went backwards and did everything else, but I kind of was like the master of my own journey, if that makes sense.
That's very powerful, because most people that have been through a difficult journey, even though they have achieved success in certain areas, often inwardly feel a bit inadequate. Did I really do this? But for you to own that power is a huge thing. And I think a lesson for people to learn from what you've been through is owning your power.
Again, if you're going to take a lesson from all that life throws at you, then when you learn that lesson, it does empower you. It should empower you because you've seen the lesson and you've grown from it, or you've shifted focus or redirected. It is a power that you should own.
And it's important to see the lesson. That's what many people
Absolutely.
don't really see. When you started Second Chances, how did that start? What made you begin this? Tell us the story. It went viral. It was on social media. Everybody knew about Pam and Second Chances and what you did. Tell us about Second Chances. How did it birth itself and what was it about?
Okay, so helping people has always been a passion of mine. And another thing that I absolutely love is social media. When Facebook first came out, I told my friends I needed to find a job where I could sit on Facebook all day long. I was obsessed. I even applied to Facebook for vacancies all around the world that they had. I never ever got a job, but that was like just something I love. I love connecting the world through a platform. And my other passion of helping people, why not use this incredible platform that we're given that literally connects us to every other human being in the world in some way, to helping people, bring the two together. And during the xenophobic attacks last year, we had 5 children arrive at the camp at 9:30 at night, all under the age of 6. One was a young baby, naked. The only thing they had on were police blankets. Their moms had been arrested and were being deported the following morning, and we had nothing for them. We didn't have anybody to feed the baby. We didn't know if it had had formula. We didn't have nappies, clothing. We really needed desperate help. And
Did you have someone with you? Were you alone?
Yes, so I was at the Gift of the Givers displacement camp. So there were some people from Gift of the Givers there, volunteers. There were some other volunteers that we were working with at the time. And so it was an instinct thing. Like, let me go and post this on social media. And I didn't realize at the time, but nobody was doing that yet. Nobody was putting a picture up of somebody in distress. And so I took a picture of these 5 little kids and I put it onto my Facebook page, which at the time I think I had 700 or 800 friends. And I posted it and I said it was urgent. And within an hour and a half, I had done 2 trips to the suburbs, back to the displacement camp and back again. We had loads of nappies, clothes, formulas, bottles, toys, everything we needed. Lots of donations to try and get the mothers out of jail. And that was the first time that I realized afterwards, wow, I'm onto something. Like, this is unique. Nobody else is doing this. And the results are there. They spoke for themselves. And so I started from there, starting to post stuff about different people that I met along the way, often beggars at the robots, because those are the people that I used to stop and speak to. And then
I think for people listening to this not in South Africa,
yes,
beggars at the robots are quite prevalent, especially in Johannesburg.
Yes.
We have displaced people without homes, without food, who stand at
traffic lights,
begging for food and for money.
Yes.
Yes.
And so, just on a very naive level, I had no idea about the underlying social issues, and I didn't really care at that point. I just wanted to, like you said, be a human, helping other humans and just connecting with humans that are generally ignored and forgotten about and are invisible to us. And then on the 29th of June, 2015, almost a year ago, I posted up a couple pictures about a young man named Joseph who was living under a bridge. He was standing there with his matric certificate, I guess in America, your high school qualification.
Yes. And
his CV. And he told me he was begging for a job, and I'd never seen anything like that. And it was just so unique. And I actually had driven past him, and my gut said, just go back. So I did a U-turn on one of the busiest streets in Sandton, the biggest and busiest business hub that we have in Johannesburg. And I went back to talk to him. And his story resonated with me, and I took the pictures and I posted it up on my Facebook. I had a little group at that stage on WhatsApp where I used to message my friends and say, please could you share the latest post I put up. I had 10 people that would do that for me sometimes and would be able to help people. And not only did those 10 people share the post, but another 38,000 people shared it as well. And it went viral, and with an estimated view of 40 million people around the world having seen that post. And like you said, everyone all of a sudden knew Pam Green and Joseph. and it was front page of the newspapers and radio interviews and talk show interviews and TV interviews. It was just so surreal.
And tell us what happened to Joseph.
So, I guess with any entrepreneur, your first attempt fails.
Okay. Take us back before it failed.
Okay.
So let's hear the success story of it first.
Okay, so the success story is that it went viral. Within 24 hours, we had over 1,000 offers of help for Joseph. He was employed by a company in Centurion, which is about half an hour away from Johannesburg, to work in their call center. We received donations for housing, toiletries, clothing, food, everything down to driving lessons if you ever want to learn how to drive a car.
It's incredible listening to the story, just hearing how people really want to open their hearts.
Absolutely.
We are so bombarded by negativity in the news and in media that it's so heartwarming. It's so seldom you hear this kind of story with so many people just wanting to do good, to help, to make the world a better place.
Absolutely. Well, they say that good news doesn't sell, and I'm proving that wrong.
I love that. Absolutely love that.
Proving it wrong every day.
So Joseph got his job.
The day before he was meant to start working, which was a week later, he opened up about the fact that he had a drug problem. I had no idea at the time that about 80% of the beggars at the traffic lights are drug addicts. And that's the biggest underlying issue that we face. And so I guess I kind of just winged it, and I phoned his potential employer and explained it, and they were like, no, we'll still give him a chance. They still wanted to help out, which was amazing. We tried to fundraise for rehab. We put him in a short stint as an inpatient. He continued as an outpatient. He thrived at work. It was unbelievable to see this dirty, ragged guy at the robot, at the traffic light, to this well-dressed, in a suit, button-down shirt, totally dedicated, focused, going at it. And they actually moved him out of the call center within a couple of days, and he became almost like their little IT guy. He was teaching everybody Excel and PowerPoint. He was phenomenal.
How did he know all this?
From school days. He was really, really, really interested in tech and computers. And when he started to get into drugs in matric, in final year of high school, he obviously stopped getting involved and stopped learning and kind of just scraped through matric. But he's a highly, highly intelligent young man.
Amazing story. So what happened after that?
So over the next 2 months, we found out that he had relapsed a couple of times. We put him back into rehab. We attended family meetings with him, really focused on moving. We moved him to a new apartment in a better area where there would be less influence, I guess, negative influences around him. Try to work on that a lot with him. And then at the end of the 2 months, he just stopped arriving at work. And then we phoned the rehab to find out if he had been to meetings, and he apparently hadn't been to meetings for a week. And so we knew that, unfortunately our worst nightmares were coming true. And we actually went to his apartment to go and see what was going on, to find him, hoping that he would be alive, and thank God he was. But unfortunately, he had turned the apartment into a bit of a drug den, and there were a few other people now staying there with him as well. And he just said, the addiction was too tough to beat. He thought he wanted this, he's not ready for it. And he just wants to be with his friends, and he wants to be able to do his thing.
I'm sure you must have been absolutely devastated at that point, but learned a lot from the experience. As you said, you failed forward.
Yes.
So you learned stuff as you went along, and I'm sure that for future people that you helped, it gave you a lot of insight into their backgrounds.
Absolutely.
Because not understanding where they come from, or we want to do so much good and help, but we don't really understand where they come from.
Absolutely.
Where these people have come and what their history is.
Right. So you do it again and you do it better. And you'll make another mistake on that one because you'll learn about another issue and another story and another angle. And so you do it better the next time. And every time we help someone, we do it better. I'm not perfect, and I don't pretend to understand all the issues, but I educate myself as soon as it is apparent that there's something. I'm now a recovery coach as well. I've done a course in recovery coaching, learned a lot more about looking out for signs, how to get somebody help, how to find out if they're ready for help. And I guess I always say, in my quest to create a second chance for Joseph, he created second chances. And again, just like my ex-partner, I'm so grateful to him. I wouldn't have this if I hadn't encountered him and been through all of that.
I think that's so beautiful and inspiring for people who are trying things and trying to be different and trying things that are new and breaking new ground, because it's easy to give up. It's easy to fail and go, well, this wasn't for me, didn't work, you see, I shouldn't have done it.
Absolutely.
But the fact that you took that as a lesson and learned from it and grew from it and did this course and are now using it to help others is really incredibly inspiring, and a message for so many other people there. Don't give up.
Absolutely. You have to remain focused on your goal. You have to remove your ego and remain focused. 40 million people watched me fail.
Well, I wouldn't say that it was a failure. I think
absolutely.
Yes.
But it could have been if I had given up. If I had given up, it would have been a failure.
Yes. I think that's what is so incredible about your journey.
Yes.
Is that you didn't give up. You didn't fail, and you did it in front of 40 million people, and you
Right.
stood up and went, look what we learned. And now look what we can do. We can do this better.
100%. And we are doing it better. And we'll continue to do it better and better and better as we go along.
So tell me what happened after Joseph. Now, who was the next story?
So,
where did Second Chances develop?
Into
How
an
did it
organization.
develop? Yes.
So Joseph was the 29th of June. Mandela Day, a national day where everybody gets involved in doing nice things for others and less fortunate, was just a few weeks later. And I thought, well, I have the spotlight on me. Your 15 minutes of fame. Your 15 minutes of fame should never be about, your personal fame. Those 15 minutes was about helping people and inspiring people to help. So I'm going to continue to use those 15 minutes to do exactly that. And I then went and I created a Facebook page called Pam Green's #SecondChances, so that I could create an event called 67 Second Chances to tie in with Mandela Day. And I went to a company and I asked them, could you please donate 67 hoodies? I want to hand them out to the guys at the robots, the traffic lights. And I went to friends of mine and I was like, would you mind coming along? I want to hand out 67 hoodies. I want to have 67 conversations. I want to find out what are their needs, why are they on the streets. I want to do some research, but I want to give something back to them for giving me that information. So friends came, we got 67 pies donated and 67 oranges donated. And it was so simple. It cost nothing. It really cost us nothing. And we came together on that day and got the media involved. And the newspapers came along, which was incredible of them. And they took pictures and we sat and we spoke for 67 minutes. Two guys who are normally ignored and overlooked. We gave them something warm to wear. We just chatted like human beings. Race, religion, walks of life, none of that mattered. It was so fun to just sit there for 67 minutes. And in the lead up to the actual Mandela Day, part of the 67 Second Chances event was to try and help people like Joseph, or in different circumstances, but all needing help, to try and help 67 people up to Mandela Day and then hand out the 67 hoodies, which I did. And it was phenomenal. And we have such great stories from that. And then people continued.
Tell me one story.
So,
the one that stands out the most.
Caleb. Caleb is the little boy that I met at the displacement camp. I think that's why it's my favorite, because it kind of all brings it all together. Caleb became like a second child to me when I was volunteering at the camps. He is such a bright, happy, he's like just a little bubble of energy. He runs around, he's got the biggest smile. And when it was finally safe for his family to leave, they had lost everything. Everything had been burnt. They had nothing to their names, which I could resonate with. And him and I, we cried. We cried like babies when he was leaving. And his mum called me about 3 or 4 weeks later to say, was there any way we could help Caleb? She can't afford school fees. And because she's originally from another country, there's no free schooling for him. We checked on their papers. They're here legally. Everything was done. They had a right to be here. And after everything they'd been through, I wanted to do something. And this event and this platform was all of a sudden the perfect opportunity. And we have 3 of our Second Chances followers who pay his school fees every month now. And he got his first grade education last year because of Second Chances.
That is amazing. That is really giving someone a second chance, really real
Absolutely.
In the world,
his whole
and giving
family,
them a chance at life.
His whole family. He'll be the first in his family to finish school and get a qualification, please God.
And hopefully be able to earn a living, support him and his family, and get off the streets, not get into drugs.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge lesson that I guess came from your initial teeny weeny little failure.
Yes.
Is learning, yes, they do need food and clothes, but there's
Absolutely.
a much bigger picture.
Absolutely. 100%. So he stands out the most, although all of the stories were phenomenal. And I loved it. I remember saying to a friend of mine, I post something up on Facebook about somebody who needs help. I go to sleep and I wake up and the help is there. It was the most...
Like magic.
It literally was like magic. It's so surreal and it still boggles my mind. I'd post something up, I'd go to bed, I'd wake up, they were helped. It was just instant. Like the little night owls, sewing the second chance together while the world slept.
It's an incredible thing about social media and how it's made the world so small, and it can be used for good or for bad.
Absolutely.
Often used to spread negativity and can be very hurtful. But in this case, you've just shown the power of how it's life-changing.
Absolutely. To me, this is the real power of social media.
I couldn't agree more. So where is Second Chances today? What are you currently busy with? What are you doing right now? What are your projects that you're involved with?
So Second Chances right now is a non-profit organization, registered. I never thought I would say I was the director of a company in my lifetime, but here I am, working on constantly trying to seek out those who genuinely need help and want help for themselves as well, trying to provide those opportunities for them to turn their lives around. Working on a lot of projects that create jobs, because unfortunately in this country we have a massive unemployment rate and there aren't enough jobs available. The only solution to that is to create jobs. So working a lot on projects that create jobs for people.
So that's being a double maverick, not only helping but also helping find employment and creating new jobs.
Absolutely. So that's become one of my biggest passions right now within the Second Chances, almost umbrella. It's become an umbrella now to all the different projects that I work on. Creating jobs is a big one. And then working on different projects with other NGOs and NPOs. I've almost become kind of like the face of NPO social media campaigns and working on other projects for other nonprofits, consulting to other nonprofits on how to get their social media presence up. And how they can use social media to better their own organizations as well. Just growing. I want to change the world, and every day that's what I work on.
So hopefully people listening to this interview, people reading your story, reading your book, will be inspired what you've done and help Second Chances, give Second Chances a 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th chance to help change the world.
Absolutely. That would be first prize.
You've really been through a journey and you've always seen the positive and been grateful for what you've achieved, what you've done, the people that are around you. What are 5 mantras that you would give to others that you live by, that you believe in, that somebody else going through a difficult phase in their life or time in their life and is wanting to be a maverick could use from your lessons or live by?
Okay, so the first one, I actually wear on a ring every day, and it says, "This too shall pass." So this too shall pass is definitely my first one. It's for good and for bad. When you're in a bad predicament, the bad doesn't last forever. You have the power within yourself to change your circumstances. And in the good times, appreciate them, because those don't last forever either. So this too shall pass, definitely number 1. Then, honor your truth. Be aware of who you are and never ever apologize for who you are. Use that to better mankind. Number 3, be kind always. You meet people that can frustrate you. They can hurt you. They can let you down. They can disappoint you. But they're there as a vessel for a lesson you need to learn. So always be kind to people. I challenge myself with that one as well. Your present situation need not be your permanent one. You have the power within you to change your destiny. I'm a big believer in that. So if you believe that you're stuck somewhere, you're going to be stuck there forever. You have to believe that it is just a temporary predicament and that you really have the power to turn your life around. And then I guess for everyone, my mantra that I believe in and that everybody, I believe, should have, and that is treat others as you wish to be treated. It doesn't matter if you have nothing to your name. Treat others as you wish to be treated. Those are not just my 5 mantras, but I think also my recipe to world peace. If this is a Miss Universe, like, stage question.
We would have, it's funny you said that, as on my way here on the radio, the DJ answered a question and the co-DJ went, that sounded like a Miss Universe answer. So it definitely did sound like a Miss Universe answer, and the truth of what would make the world a better place to live in. My job is all around making people happier and giving people resiliency skills. And that's really all we want, is we want to be a happier world that's more peaceful, that can live together in harmony. And if everyone was just out there trying to do something to help another, we would have a beautiful place to live in.
Absolutely.
We would live in a beautiful world.
Yes.
If you could do anything differently, what would you change?
Wow. If I could do anything differently, what would I change? Nothing. I think this journey is as it should be. Every day is another adventure. Every day is another reason why I smile. It's a smile moment. And I think if I had to change it, it wouldn't be where we're at now. I guess if I had one wish to include in exactly how it's been, is to have found funding and sponsorship right at the beginning. That's the biggest stress now. So not that I would change anything, but I would like that added little benefit along the way.
Well, they say always follow your passion and the money will come. So let's hope that really is in reality what people say. They always say if you want to be successful, I think Richard Branson says, follow your passions and the money will come.
Yeah.
So, and I think really when you're passionate about something, somehow you attract the right people, you attract the right places, the right situations, if you just keep on persevering.
Absolutely.
So perseverance and passion,
yes,
are probably 2 of the most important things. Is there anything you'd like to add about Pam Green, Pam the person, where you want to go in the future, who you are now? Any inspiration to people listening, reading your story?
So many thoughts fly through my head. Maybe that's why I'm good at what I do on social media, is my head never stops. I'm constantly thinking and strategizing on new ways to better the world. I just always knew I was different. I always knew, and not in an arrogant way, in the most humblest of ways, that I wasn't here to be average. I was here to do great things, and I never stopped believing in that. I think as a society, we push each other down, and we keep each other in average places to make ourselves feel better. Don't let anybody dim your fire. I never, ever gave up on the fact that I was meant to be something great. I was meant to do great things. I was not meant to be average. And so I'm so grateful to those who now follow the work that I do, who support the work that I do, and who are involved. And most importantly, to the people who trust me enough to get involved in their lives and to assist them. Because for the first time in my life, and in my adult life, I should say, people are finally telling me that all my beliefs the whole way through my life were right, and that I needed to hold on. So hold on to your beliefs. Don't settle for being average. If I can do it, anyone can do it. I was one human being who took the time out to help one other human being. Everyone can be that one person. So don't dim your fire. Don't let others do that to you.
I think it's easy for us to just think to ourselves, It's just me. What can I do? And you've proved just me can do a whole lot.
Absolutely. I was that person. I stopped. I spoke to someone. I took 1 minute out of my day to post it on social media. And one person helping one other person enabled 40 million people to see that and to get involved.
That is just, it's something that years ago we could only have dreamed for, that television networks and media and news could never reach 40 million people.
Absolutely.
It's really insane. It's a country. 40 million people is a country. We have
100%.
about 38 million people, I think, in South Africa. I'm not sure what
about 53 million at the moment.
Give or take 10 or 15 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the truth is, that's a country.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible. I'm sure these people were from all over the world.
Well, at the moment, our Facebook page has followers from 46 different countries around the world, 19 different languages. Our website, which is only 3 weeks old, has already had visitors from 38 different countries. So it just goes to show, don't worry about being one person. We have all the opportunities in our hands right now. We live in modern times, technology's at our fingertips. You can be one person, you can still reach the world.
Give us your Facebook page.
Our Facebook page is facebook.com/Pam Green SecondChances.
So for people listening to this, please go and like that page and start getting involved and start changing the world.
Absolutely.
Start being a part of the movement to change the world.
Absolutely. My ultimate goal is to have Second Chances branches all around the world. There isn't a country that isn't affected by poverty, by drugs. Drugs are a big one. By abuse, lack of education. There are citizens in every country around the world who are finding these struggles in their daily lives, and it would be an absolute honor and dream come true to have a presence in every country. So please, if you're listening anywhere in the world, follow the page and get involved.
That is an incredible, inspirational, completely maverick story, Pam. Thank you for sharing your heart with us, for opening up and sharing your failures and your successes. And may this chapter in the book, may your story reach another 40 million people.
Thank you.
And give others second chances in life. Thank you. If you'd like to end or close with anything.
Thank you. To close off, just remember that life is not easy. It's not going to go as planned. You're going to look back and think, wow, that took a wrong turn. Make mistakes, be honest, be transparent, learn, grow, and just be the best you can be.
Be the best you can be. You really have, and you exude that. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you. Thank you.
And there you have it. What an excellent interview. Thank you to our guest interviewer, Shireen Richter. She's interviewing people for her book, Expert Mavericks, which is going to be released later this year. We're looking forward to more interviews from Shireen, but until then, like and share, and we'll see you next time on the show.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.